Hello, 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 beautiful people. This is L.A. Roberts, and I am coming to you once again with another episode of Conversations with Greatness. And today I have Dr. Demoine Kinney. Now, let me tell you a little something about Demoine Kinney. He is absolutely amazing. Let me first say this. I don't have people that are not amazing on Conversation with Greatness. That's exactly why I called it the way that I do. But let me go back because I always do this. If you do not know me, I am an international best-selling author, an inspirationalist, transformational speaker, creative consultant, all of the above. Okay, so I do a lot. But today is not about me. It's about Dr. Demoine Kinney. So I'm going to tell you a little bit something about him, and then we're going to jump into an amazing conversation. So he is one of the world's most requested transformational speakers, spiritual leaders, comedians, media personalities, and he's a corporate CEO whose global platform has reached and served nearly 30 million people. 30 million people, you all. This is absolutely amazing. He's a noted personality who has appeared on America's Got Talent, Live with Kelly, Atlanta Live, Club 36, Nite-Line. You all listen. He has been on Comedy Central, Walking in Victory, Sleepy Hollow. He was on Star. He's been in the Avengers, Man of Steel, Samson. Listen, y'all need to listen to this man because he's been absolutely everywhere and has definitely been blessed to do amazing things. He is a vet. Okay, so thank you for your service, sir. He has helped not only military, but teens and college students. He's helped prevent teen suicides. He's helped over 25,000 service members and veterans, 2,500 college students. Listen, this man is somebody that you want to know. So I want to welcome Dr. Demoine Kinney. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. You are welcome. I'm honored to have you on today. So we're just going to jump right into the conversation. We have done multiple things with each other before, right. Known you since, I want to say, circa 2017. Yeah. So we have done events together. We've done King's Conversations together. We just jump on and just have amazing conversations. So it's amazing that you agreed once again to work with little old me on this evening. So I've talked about what your professional accomplishments are. And one of the first questions that I ask all of my guests on Conversations with Greatness is who they are outside of their professional, because we get so connected to our titles that we completely forget about who we are as people. Titles can be stripped. So I'm going to ask you, who is Demoine Kinney? I took away the doctor. Who is Demoine Kinney?
And thank you so much for taking away the title. A lot of times people do get stuck on titles. I'm still getting used to the doctor thing. I actually earned my PhD a little over a year ago, but for me, I'm still just Demoine. I always tell people this, I'm a little country boy from South Carolina, from a very small town called Dillon. I represent Dillon every single interview I do. I let people know about my hometown because that place made me who I am today. I'll never forget where I'm from, but I'll say this. Outside of all the titles and all the accomplishments and all that, all the degrees, I am a individual who loves family. People would be surprised to know that I'm actually an introvert when I'm home. I'm an extrovert out in public because I have to be because of my career. I love people. I absolutely love people. Since I was a little boy, I've always just wanted to see people doing well. And so what I do is not it's not a show. What I do is I'm always trying to be of service to everybody. I don't like seeing people sad. I don't like seeing people struggling or any of that. And so because of the way my heart is set up, I'm the type of person where I was always told, man, you're loyal to a fault. You're always there for people. You know, you never say no and all that. So for me, I'm a very loyal friend. I've been friends with a lot of my friends since we were little kids. One of my best friends, we've been best friends since we were 3 years old. and we talk we try to talk almost every day. and I'm one of those guys. I'm very close to my mom because my father died when I was 6. And so I'm very close to my mom. My mom is one of my best friends. Of course, my wife is one of my best friends as well. And I just love family. I love just being saved. I love God. And I want people to know that everywhere I go, I am where I am and I am who I am because of God. That with that, it allows me to be a man of integrity. It allows me to be a man who sees beyond, a man of vision. It allows me to be a man of prayer. I spend a lot of time in prayer. I do a lot of meditation. So I mean, outside of all the titles and all that stuff, that's me really at heart. I'm really I have friends, but I'm a loner because I love to kind of sit in my thoughts. And that's where the creativity comes from. All the comedy, all the music, all the movies, and all the other stuff that I do, that's where it all comes from, when I can just sit in silence and just really think.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, funny enough, I interviewed internationally known artist Trey McLaughlin for Conversations with Greatness, and he's been a very good friend and like a brother for the last 10 years. And surprisingly enough, we all have something in common. I'm an introvert, extrovert too. Mm-hmm. I'm okay being by myself. Like, I can be an introvert and be completely fine. Some people say, well, are you one or the other? Kind of both. Like, I'm okay. When I'm out because, like you said, with what we do and everything that we have to touch and things, you have to be out. Mm-hmm. But when I'm in, I'm in. So that's funny because he said that. And I agree with him, like, my God, that's me too. And then with you just saying that, it's like this, it just must be a creator, creatives. I think that's how we all are.
That's it. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Creatives are kind of like, here I am, now leave me alone.
Right. It's funny that you said that because when people see me and when I'm out in public and folks want to come up and meet me and stuff, I'm on while I'm in front of them. But if they see me, like if I'm in a restaurant or something by myself, they're like, man, you're just so different. Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me. I just love being by myself. I enjoy my own company. And you have a lot of people who struggle with that. They can't be by themselves. They always got to be around people. But that's not creatives. We need that time alone.
You know what? Which is going to bring me somewhere else. With the pandemic, and the lockdown that we had, a lot of people struggled with being in the house. A lot of people did, and I didn't. Like, I was like, okay, so we got food. Let me make sure, we have food. I have my 2 brothers that live here with me. Let me make sure we have all the food. Let me make sure we got toilet tissue, because apparently that was like oil.
Right.
Let me make sure we got, paper towel. I'm good. And we all have our own space. We all, kind of did what we were doing, but I didn't need to be out amongst people. And then, people were really struggling when I saw that on like Facebook, like, oh, I can't go here and I can't go here. And I'm nothing against those people, but that just was not my testimony.
Right.
Like, I didn't need to, because that's just not how I felt. So were you the same way during the lockdown?
Let me tell you, the pandemic doesn't bother me at all. I've done more projects from home than I did when I was all out busy running, ripping and running, doing all these speaking engagements and all these comedy shows and all that. I've done more from home than I did when I was out there. And so for me, it's been a blessing for me because it kind of forced me to go back to the drawing boards. You know what I mean? Like, as an artist, like, what is it that I'm seeking? Not the people. What am I seeking when it comes to my career? When it comes to being a pastor, like, what is it that I'm seeking, with the relationship between me and the individuals that are part of our ministry? When it comes to, even writing,
Yeah.
I had gotten away from really sitting down, writing books and doing all that stuff, and also reading. I love to read. I'm an avid reader.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it feels like I got a PhD, right? But I'm an avid reader. So I love to just sit and just read books. I learned years ago from Chris Rock. We were doing a show together in Indianapolis, and he told me, he said, look, he said, what separates the great comedians from those who are considered comics is how much you read. He said, so I want to encourage that you read every single day. He said, read everything you can get your hands on. And so I read the newspaper. And especially when I'm going to an area before I do a show, I'm always going to talk about things that's going on in their area. And it
Yeah.
shocks them. They're like, he ain't from here. How he know that? But it's
Mm-hmm.
because I read the newspaper. I watch the news all the time. I'm constantly picking up books. Anything I can get in my head as far as books and reading, I'm getting it in there. And so, like I said, the pandemic didn't bother me at all. It didn't bother me at all.
Well, that's good. That's good because it bothered a lot of people.
Yeah.
It was said, and I've been quoting this now since this is what's going on, but it was so profound to me. But Stephen Furtick said that people were uncomfortable with being inside because they were forced to face their dysfunction with no distraction.
I love it. I saw that. I listened to that sermon too. And I hope Stephen Furtick sees this message. Pastor Demoine Kinney watches you, brother. And I love that message that he taught. Trust me. I loved it.
It really blessed me. And I just happened to be like, on YouTube and some things was going on. And I was, praying and I opened that up. And when he said that, I was like, oh man, that moment when you hear something that's so smooth, you got to put it in your note. I was like, pause. Okay, let's go back. Now what? And I got my phone. I'm like, I got to put this down because that's the absolute truth. Where people did not want to be inside with their families. People didn't want to be inside with their children. People didn't want to be inside with their husbands and their wives because there was no separation of no dysfunction, like no distraction. Sorry.
Yeah.
The dysfunction is there, but the distraction was not, because It's easy for us to ignore things. If we can get up and we can walk out the door and say, we'll see you later because we want to work, or I'm going to get my hair done, or I'm going to get my nails done, or I'm going to meet the girls, or I'm going to play basketball with the guys. All of that shut down.
Right.
So then you're faced with having to face the dysfunction instead of running away from it. And a lot of people now struggle with their children. They don't know their kids, right? They don't know their spouses. And there was a comedian that said, how many people are still married after, the pandemic? And I'm thinking, why y'all not married?
Yeah.
Why not? What's going on? But I realized that it was so much dysfunction going on even before this. 2020 has slid us into it's like a big ball of dysfunction. Like, just from the tragedies that have taken place. We have lost some great people this year. And I know you lost your mentor.
Yeah. 2 of them actually. 3.
Both?
3 actually. Not
okay.
3.
So let's talk about that. Tell the people the 3 mentors that you lost, because I know, but let's tell the people.
Yeah, so it's still kind of painful to talk about because I lost one of them last week, and so the first one was I lost Dr. Nicholas Cooper Luter. He was one of those guys that I had in my life that helped me to realize that I could push beyond my limits. Dr. Nicholas Cooper Luter, he had a lot to do with the colleges in South Carolina. He was at USC. He actually was a social worker who worked with Muhammad Ali and a lot of great athletes. And so he helped me to get through my struggles with PTSD because I'm a war vet. So there were some things that I was dealing with that he helped to talk me through, and he gave me some different techniques to use to help me to pull, through a lot of that stuff that I was going through. Then Congressman John Lewis. When I ran for state legislator, when I ran for state legislator in South Carolina in 2016, Congressman John Lewis, Congressman Hank Johnson, Congressman Jim Clyburn, and quite a few other guys just really took me under their wings, and they mentored me, and they showed me what to do. They showed me how to handle the pressure that I was going through. They showed me to, to always keep the people first, always keep them in mind, never make it about you. Because when you do that, that's when you go wrong. And so they were giving me a lot of insight and things like that. So when I lost him this year, of course, that was a blow for me. And that was my second blow. And then 2 weeks ago, Bishop Alfred Ringer, he was my pastor, my friend. I called him dad. He called me his son. When we first started ministry, he was right there. He prayed with us. He spoke into my life and told me that that's what God was calling me to do. And I still wanted to run a little bit, but he told me, he says, no, I'm gonna be with you the whole way. Don't worry about it. I got you. Anything you need, I'm right here. And so he passed away 2 weeks ago, and his funeral was last weekend. So like I said, it's still kind of painful to talk about it, but I mean, one thing I realize is, your mentors may not be around forever, but the impact that they made and that they had on your life, it goes for the rest of your life. And so I am here because of them.
Yeah. So, and all amazing men. And I'm pretty positive that they were very proud of you because you do amazing things. Yeah. So let's lighten it up a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about, and I'm like completely off script. Let's talk about all this great stuff you did with America's Got Talent, and you were on one of my favorite shows that I binge watched, and I was so mad when they turned that off. But once they lost Abby, I was like, I don't know where this is going.
Oh Lord.
I don't even know where this is going. But I watched it till the end. But you were on Sleepy Hollow. You've been on the Avengers. Like, talk to me about that transformation or how that feels to step onto these, step onto these sets with all of these amazing people and going, man, like I'm here.
Yeah. Well, let me start here. At the age of 6, I knew what I wanted to do when I got older. I knew I wanted to be on television. My mom used to love watching a show called Knots Landing. And I knew then, just in the opening of the show, I knew that's what I want to do, And so when I had the opportunity to do those shows, of course, at first, it is especially the Avengers. It was like a surreal experience. I got a chance to meet Samuel Jackson, Scarlett Johansson, all of those guys, Chris Evans, everybody. And so they were talking to me like I was just, one of them, And so having that experience, it really just showed me that, the dreams and the visions that you have, you can have it all. You can have all of that. And so for me, it was just, it was one of those, I tell people like this, it was one of those things that allowed me to realize that my childhood dream was possible. It happened. Now it's meant for me to share my experience with other people to let them know that whatever you dreamed of as a child, you can do that now. And you don't have to ever give up on that. And so for me, that's what all of it meant. So, some people say, oh, well, man, you act like it's just a resume bullet. Well, no, it's not just a resume bullet. It gave me experience and all that. But what I know is it solidified the fact that the dreams that I had as a child were possible. And everybody can have that too.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm a big fan of childlike faith, right? Like that's like my thing. And I think it's really important that people know that you can still have that. Like you can still do this. I have a really good friend. She's married now and she has 1, 2, 3, 4. She got kids. She got lots of and we were talking a few weeks ago and she was saying, well, I wish I would have done some acting. And, I still wish I would have done that. And I was like, girl, you can, like, you can still do that. And I told her about the lady that was in Black Panther. I think she was like 80 and it was her first role.
Yeah.
And Black Panther is still one of my favorite, Marvel movies. Like I absolutely love Black Panther, and it blew up. Rest in peace, Black Panther. I was so hurt. Wakanda forever. I was so hurt. Like I was so hurt when that happened.
Yeah.
But I was telling her that it's never too late for you to actually do that. And for the people that are watching, if you want to become an actress or an actor, go ahead and do it. If you have, that comedic bone, like, go ahead and do it. If you want to do hair or become a lawyer or whatever, people put restrictions on you.
Yeah.
You don't put restrictions on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important for you not to do that. So let me ask you this. Was there a moment when you got older and it started happening that you were like, this is my life? Like, this is my life. So was there a moment where it just clicked for you when you were like, this is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the closer I got to 30 years old, the more I started to realize, like, okay, this is it. Like, this is what I wanted. This is what I have, and I have to embrace it. Because before the age of 30, it was more of me trying to figure out, like, okay, am I there yet? Am I doing the right things? Am I meeting the right people? The opportunities that have been presented to me, did I do a good enough job taking advantage of those opportunities and all that stuff? And so when I think I was probably around, I think I was 30 years old before I finally embraced it. And I had already been performing for years because I've been in the industry now for 20 years. And so, there was definitely a moment. And let me say this too, because I was on active duty. Okay, I was in the Air Force for 12 and a half years. A lot of people didn't even know. I was doing the Avengers while I was in the Air Force. I did America's Got Talent when I was active duty. I did Comedy Central while I was active duty.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a lot of that work was before I was out of the military. And so, and let me say this to people right now. I want to say this. I feel like I'm being led to say this. Just because you have a full-time job doesn't mean that you can't do your side hustle after hours. I did my side hustles after hours. I'm a comedian. I was able to establish in my own mind, okay, yes, I'm in the military, but that doesn't mean that I have to cut off the other parts of me because I'm in the military. And so what I did was I went to work from 7 until 4 most days, okay, unless I had to work overtime or something, but from 7 to 4 most days. And then I would go and I would work the comedy clubs Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and I would be back at work on Monday. And I didn't go to work telling everybody what I did on the weekend, because a lot of times sharing too much information will make people start to hate you, start to resent you. They don't want you working that job. And so they're trying to figure out a way to get you out of the way and all that kind of stuff. And so for me, I was able to have balance in my life. Was it easy? No, it wasn't easy balancing it all, but it was necessary and it was worth it.
You know what? You said something. The separation is needed. The separation is needed because people will know. And I was reminded about this. Today, and it's kind of funny that we're even talking about this. It was a couple of years ago. I was going for a position, and I was sitting down talking to the manager, and he said, "I really like you." He said, "I know that if I hire you, you won't stay." And I was like, I wanted to say, "But sir," but sir. But he looked at me. He was like, "No, I know you won't stay. It's something about you that I can already tell that you will not stay. I like you. I would love to have you on my team. I want you to meet everybody, but I know you won't stay." And in the back of my mind, I'm like, you're right, sir. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that, but you're right. So that's normally why, and people that are listening now, if you have something that's going on the side, try to keep that separate, because you don't want it to be a conflict of interest. You don't want people to start doing little stuff here and there, especially if you're not really established. The best thing for you to do is to have it be a side hustle until it makes the money that you needed to make, and then it can be your primary. But just be careful. And on a spiritual level, you don't tell people your business. No way.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't, because everybody don't want what's best for you. Everybody doesn't want you to succeed. Everybody is not going to be excited that you're going on America's Got Talent or you're going to the UN. I got so much flack for going in 2019 when I got invited. And let me tell you what's funny about that. When I got the text message about being invited to the UN, it came through. I responded back and said UN ? Because you had to tell me what that stood for. There was no way in the world it stood for the United Nations. I thought it was a church.
Yeah.
I was like, no, what is this? United? What is? I really did. And I was like, UN period. And they responded back and it was like the United Nations and told me what the event was. And I was like, yo, me? The little girl from the South Side of Chicago, me? You know, that me, you want me to be there? And when I told people, not even coworkers, when I told people that were close to me, and you'll find that out too, and I'm sure that you could agree with this. When you tell people that are in your family or that are close to you, one lady responded like it was the corner store next to the KFC. I was like, this is a big deal. She was like, I mean, that's good. Okay. And it kind of took me back because I prayed that God would elevate me and take me to another level. And literally he was like, boom, you ready? And when that happened, the masks start coming off, the shields start coming down. So be very careful if you're not prepared for that, because it does happen. Can you speak to, telling somebody that you're going to do something real good and they like, I mean, whatever.
Yes. I'll tell you this, in my thesis, as a matter of fact, in my dissertation for my PhD, I wrote about overcoming obstacles while discovering yourself and your purpose. And one of the things that I'm reminded of even now is how even when I talk to some family members about me becoming a comedian, because I was so quiet when I was younger, some of them said, I didn't even think he was funny. And then, here it was, I got my first deal on television and they saw me as a comedian. They was like, oh, well, you're all right. But really what it was they wanted to do some of the things that I was doing. I was talked about pretty bad amongst my family because my family, we have a family church. And so, I wasn't cursing on stage or anything at this particular time that I'm speaking of, but I was told that I was going to hell because I was in the comedy clubs and I was doing the devil's work and all this stuff. And then I got booked to do a show in my hometown and they saw that I was a Christian comedian. And all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, well, maybe we were wrong. Maybe we should get them to come to the church. And so it was crazy to me because I'd learned then that what people don't know, they make up.
You better repeat that, rewind.
Yep. What people don't know, they'll make up because they hadn't seen me perform, even as a saxophonist. They had not seen me perform in the church anymore because I had moved away. I was gone off to the Air Force and all that. And again, people ran my name down in the mud. Even when I was doing things in my hometown, people would say, oh, well, he forgot where he came from. He don't do nothing for us and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm investing thousands of dollars every year, bringing shows down here. I'm investing thousands of dollars trying to help people who couldn't pay bills and stuff like that. I'm sending money out. Now, sometimes I really didn't even have it to give, but I gave it because I wanted to see people doing well. I go back to my original point that I made, my original statement. I've always had a heart for people. I've always wanted to see people doing well. I never wanted to see people struggle. I never wanted to see people sad. And so when people would call me, I would always be available to help. And so again, I've been there. Even when I was in the Air Force, I had people talking about me because they found out I was a comedian. One individual tried to get me kicked out of the military. So they came
for
to
being a comedian?
Yeah, for being a comedian. I was doing comedy shows at Ramstein Air Force Base at a place called the Rockers Lounge. And I had to promote my own shows by putting flyers out on cars. And this individual saw one of my flyers and he said, I wouldn't support him if somebody paid me to. So he took my flyer, and he didn't know I heard him. He took my flyer off of a car that wasn't his, balled it up, and threw it on the ground. And he was like, I'm gonna go get some other people to help me take all these flyers down. I don't care how much he spent for them. And again, a lot of folks don't know those stories because I don't share those stories with a lot of people. But I went through a lot, just trying to live out my childhood dreams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there are people that, because they're not walking in what it is that they want to do, and they're afraid to go after their dreams, that they don't want to see you do it either. The people that try to, you know, and it just doesn't make any sense to me because that's not the type of person that I am. But it bothers people to see other people do well. It's almost like you have the audacity to do something great. How dare you get on television? How dare you fly to this place? And, you know, it's kind of like, well, why not? Like, why would I not want to do these things? And you can do it too in your own lane if you choose to. But people just don't, you know, they don't understand that. And I've definitely, I have definitely dealt with some of those things, and where God is taking me, I'm sure I'm going to keep seeing it. But I've matured to the point where it doesn't bother me like it used to. Right? Like you know, I used to be like, oh my God, what did I do? And I don't understand. And now I'm like, okay, next.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what Les Brown told me a couple years ago. I did a conference with Les. Les told me, he said, the higher up you go, the less people are there because it ain't much oxygen at the top.
Oh, yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
It ain't many people there because he said there's less oxygen at the top. So what I've learned is there's going to be people that's going to fall off. There are going to be, you know, people that may stick around for a while. But I tell people this, and I hate to have to say it like this, but this is what I tell a lot of folks. I even was telling my kids this last night. I said, listen, because I lost my father when I was 6 years old, I'm used to people walking away. I'm used to people not being there. I'm used to people, you know, making whatever decisions or transitions they have to make. I'm used to it. So when somebody walks off from me, it doesn't really hurt me like that because I'm so used to things happening where people walk away. Before I was married, I was used to women coming into my life and then saying, you too busy. And so they would walk off.
Wait, but did they say it like that with the neck roll too?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look, they would hit me like, you just too busy. I don't know what you doing. I ain't trying to be with nobody who always working and stuff. And you extra clean too. I ain't feeling that. See?
No. You know what though? Yeah, that. Yeah. You have to have somebody or be with somebody that's on your same grind, that understands the hustle, that does what you know, not necessarily does the same thing that you do, but knows like, I am working towards something and I'm doing this and I need you to support me and understand that. And that person is now your wife and y'all are good. So whoever they were, it don't even matter.
Exactly. And this is what I always tell. I tell every single individual this, okay? If you are dating someone who's not living in their purpose and you are hard charging in your purpose, not towards it, but you're in it, you're working in it, you are unequally yoked. Because you got to be equally yoked with somebody who's working in their purpose just like you. You don't have to be doing the same thing because me and my wife don't do nowhere close to the same stuff. My wife is a publisher. She owns Pure Thoughts Publishing, okay? And she publishes these authors' books and all that kind of stuff. I don't have nothing to do with that. I'm a comedian. I run my own entertainment company. We are in the distribution space now. You know, I got a communications company where we got a great contract with the government, all that stuff. That's what I do outside of all the entertainment stuff. And so for me and my wife, what we had to learn to do is I had to let her be who she is and grow where she needs to grow. And she allows me to do the same. But there are things that we do together, okay? And those things that we do together, we do them, but we still don't try to jump in each other's lane. And so again, it's us understanding our purpose and understanding what we bring to the table so that we're not trying to, you know, jump ahead of each other. So that's it.
Yeah, because competition in a relationship is the worst thing ever. Lord, that's a whole nother. We don't that ooh. But let me get back to what, because that's a whole nother thing. What was the hardest crowd you ever had to face or you ever was in front of?
A hungry church crowd. Because when they hungry, let me tell you something. They ain't trying to hear what you got to say.
You're right.
I had a lady tell me, now, baby, we hungry now. You need to go and get somewhere and sit down. You can tell these jokes later. I said, wait a minute. You don't want to hear none of these jokes? She said, none of them. I said, wait a minute.
Right, like, where you came, ma'am. That's funny. Yeah. So
she had to take her blood pressure pills. I got to take my blood pressure pill. I got to eat me something. I smell that chicken back there cooking. I said, wait a minute.
I knew it was chicken in the styrofoam box with the macaroni and cheese. Absolutely. And the little piece of cornbread and the piece of paper with the cake on top. And they didn't close that thing up.
You know the church people.
Listen, I know it. And if you're lucky, you get 2 pieces of chicken if you know the lady in the back with the swollen ankles and the rolled down socks. I know. I know about it.
Oh, you're right. And they drink blessed water.
Yeah. Okay, so let me so you have told me about, you walking in your purpose. You definitely are walking in your purpose. That I feel like there's moments when there's a light bulb that goes off. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I feel like that there's moments where you just go, wow, this is it. This is where I am. This is where I'm supposed to be. And the beautiful part about that is that there are gifts that we have not tapped into yet. People think that if they're just an actor, they couldn't possibly also be an artist. Let me tell you who surprised me, and I didn't even know. I'm a big fan of Idris Elba. Hey, if you watching, I'd love to interview you and your beautiful wife. Let's come on. But big fan of Idris Elba, and I did not know that he used to be a DJ and that he's a rapper.
Yeah.
Like got bars, like for real. And I thought it was a joke at first. I'm on YouTube and I'm looking through some stuff and I'm like, featuring what? Yeah. And I clicked on it and I was like, oh my God. It just made me even more of a fan of his. Saying that all to say, people should not lock themselves in the box of what they do. And that is it. Like, I'm a comedian. That's it. That's all I can do. No, but you know what society does? When you step out of what they're used to you doing, they criticize because they feel like you should stick to what it is that you do. And you're like, well, how are you putting me in this box? Right? So what do people say to you if they be like, oh, I thought you was a comedian. You an actor now, or I thought you was an actor. You played a saxophone now, or I thought you was this. You a pastor now. You like, yeah. Like, how do people come in? Do you find that to be a problem?
Yes, especially so. Let me take a step back first. So Idris Elba and I, we did a few shows together in Indianapolis. So I knew he was a DJ. I knew he could rap, and of course, I knew he could act. So we were booked.
Okay, wait, hold on. So in your phone, you like got his number or something?
No, I don't have his phone number. I used to have his old number some years back because we were seeing each other every year. And I was a comedian, emceeing the shows in Indianapolis for the Circuit City Classic. So that's how I met him. But
I was gonna be like, text him right now. Tell him to jump up. I'll send an invite right now.
It's been years. It's been years since we've done those events together. Because the last year he did the show there, Avant song and Fantasia was the headliner. So again, it's been years since we've done those shows together. At least 15 years at this point, I think. 12, 13 years at this point.
Okay.
But anyway, going back to your question, I've ran into criticism because I'm a pastor and I'm a comedian. Some people met me as a pastor first, and then they found out I was a comedian. Some of them met me as a pastor first and found out I was an actor. And so a lot of times I've run into, and especially when we had our church in South Carolina, a lot of the people there didn't know I was a comedian until I got another television special. And I had a comedy special that came on television, and a lot of them saw it. And a lady came and she told me, she says, you know, I didn't know you was a comedian. I don't think I could take you seriously anymore. So I'm gonna have to find another church to go to. And I said, oh,
Wow.
I said, wow, that's actually kind of deep. I was like, because you want a person who's pigeonholing themselves into being one thing. I said, I'm actually here teaching you through my actions that you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into being just one thing. I said, let me ask you a question. What do you do? She told me her job title. I said, I didn't ask you your job title. I asked you, what do you do? Who are you? What are you made of? I said, can you define your blueprint right now? Can you tell me who you are, what you're made of? And she could not. I said, ma'am, I can tell you what I'm made of. And I can tell you it's because of tragedy in my life that I was able to discover my true gifts and talents. But I allowed that tragedy to become my fuel, okay? Because that's negative. That can be so negative. And some people, oh my God, I lost such and such, and I lost this job or this opportunity. I let all that be my fuel to propel me further than what I could have gone if I wouldn't have had that tragedy. So for me, I look at when I lose somebody, that could have been me, but it's not me. I got to keep on going.
Yeah.
And so I've just learned to be very resilient. And so anyway, yeah, I've run into that multiple times.
Yeah, I know about the fuel. I was playing around, and well, not necessarily playing around, I won't say that, but one of the other things I do is I'm also a playwright and a director, and I'm a creative consultant now for playwriters and people that do TV shows and stuff like that, or movies. So I did that, and I was absolutely happy with that, and just was loving it. I did not find out that I had more in me, because it was always there, until I lost my papa. When I lost him, one of the things I told him in his ear, as I whispered in his ear, he already took the Lord by his hand, and I whispered in his ear, I said, everyone will know your name, and I promise to make you proud. And when I left out that room, I didn't know what that looked like. But he passed in 2016, and by 2017, I was already an author, an international best-selling author. And by that next year, I was doing 2 consecutive tours.
Wow.
So because of that, it was my fuel. And now it's continuing to be my fuel. Plus, I have other things that are not necessarily tragic, but just things that I do. I currently don't have children yet. I'm not married yet, but I'm creating this brand. I'm creating this reality for my children, because you have to have a why, right? Yeah. If you don't have a why, then it's easy to put it down. I would also tell people out there is that if you're doing something because it's quick and you think that you can just, I just want to make this money. I have side hustles that, that bring in a little money here and there, stuff like that, but it's not my passion.
Right.
Your passion is what you're going to do when you crying and you like, I still got to get up and I still got to get out there. Your passion is going to be what helps you finish your book. Your passion is going to be what gets you. Listen, it's been so many days that I didn't want to get up and go and speak somewhere or get on a plane or do something, but because I knew I had to. Yeah. And I can't see myself doing anything else outside of, this dome of inspiration and motivation and stuff like that, which holds so many different things. Right. That's your passion. So when you asked her what her blueprint was, which takes me back to the very first question that I asked you, because a lot of people can't even answer that question. Yeah. They don't know. Yep. Yep. And they get intimidated by people that do know.
And let me say this, because I love what you said. A lot of folks, they want to believe that, I meet people all the time. And especially now I have an acting training program. I train kids, teens, and adults. And I meet people who say they want to act. And I ask them, Why? Why do you want to do this? Do you understand that you may go out and you may audition for 50 jobs and not land one? Would you still continue? As a comedian, you know, you may want a huge television opportunity, but it may never come your way. Are you willing to still work through all of that? Are you willing to work through sickness? Are you willing to work through losing family members? Personal story. My brother committed suicide, okay? And that weekend that my brother committed suicide, I was under contract to do 6 shows for a comedy club. And I called and I said, hey, this is what's going on right now in my life. And I was told, do you think you can still do the show? I said, I don't know. I've never had to perform under these circumstances, but I'll tell you what, I'll at least try it. I'll try to perform. I did 6 shows, okay? The same weekend, my brother committed suicide. I had PRK eye surgery, okay? And I was under contract to do a show the following night. I was on stage with shades on, doing stand-up comedy, making the whole room laugh. Wow. I've been in stomach virus. And my wife will tell you this. My wife walked with me to the bathroom, held my hair so that I could throw up in the sink. And I had to go on stage. And as soon as I was done, they were calling my name. So I had to run out on stage and perform as if I was not sick. Another personal story. A lot of folks don't understand that when I was in the Air Force didn't just give me time off to go and do movies. I had to sacrifice my entire lunch break. I remember my agency, I worked in Dayton, Ohio, okay? I had to drive to Cincinnati, Ohio to my agency, which is Heyman Talent in Cincinnati. I had to jump behind the wheel, try to change my clothes, driving with my knee, taking off my ABU top for the military, taking that top off, putting on my dress shirt, taking my pants off, putting on my dress pants, putting on my dress shoes, all this while driving. Okay, I didn't have no driver. I had no driver. There was no driver. I couldn't afford a driver. So I had to drive as fast as I could, an hour. It was an hour away. So I would take an extended lunch, sometimes taking my personal leave to go and do an audition so that I could land a job. Now, one particular year, I went down there to Cincinnati, I know at least 20 times auditioning, didn't land one job. But on the 21st time I went.
You better come on with the 21st.
I'm telling you, on the 21st time I booked instant tax service commercial, a commercial I didn't even want, but that commercial opened the door for me to get the Avengers. That opened the door for me to get Sleepy Hollow. That opened the door for me to get the originals. That opened the door for me to get Star and all these other shows. But again, it all started with sacrificing time, energy, sacrificing money, all that, sacrificing my life. I could have lost my life driving with one knee and I'm trying to get close.
We don't recommend that, people. We don't recommend that, people.
I don't recommend it. But let me tell you, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Listen. But you know what? I don't think people understand that part. They see the end result, but they do not see the struggle in the middle of it. They see that you're doing well. They see all of this stuff, but they don't see the struggle in the middle of it. It's almost like they want people always want the end result.
Yes.
They always want the end result. Oh, I want to do what you're doing. I want to go here or I want to go here. But you don't know what that actually took for me to get to where I am. People don't see that side. So if it is something, and I'm talking to the people that are watching, if it's something that you want to do, know that there's a middle part.
Yeah.
There's a middle part. It's not just, you're going to jump from A to Z. There is stuff in the middle, but you have to ask yourself, how bad do you really want it?
That's right.
Do you really want it? Or are you just doing it for, what the kids say, the clout? What is it?
They call and they call them clout chasers. You a clout chaser.
Right. Like, are you just doing it for the temporary gain, or are you going to do this for the long run? And see, that's how you can find out who was in it for the long haul, because it'll be 25 of y'all start together. and 3 at the end.
Woo. That's true.
Right? Because people don't really want it. And then here's something else. Find what you're good at. Yeah. Don't try to be another somebody else.
Yep. We
don't need a copy.
Yep. Be the best original you can be and live in your true authentic self.
Right. We don't need a copy. Mm-mm. You're not supposed to be Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to be Michael Jackson. You're not supposed to be who else? Let me bring it up. Let me bring it up a little bit. Who? I don't really listen to the radio that often, but you're not supposed to be Beyonce.
Right.
We already got one of those. Mm-hmm. You ain't supposed to be. I give up, but you're not supposed to be them people.
Yeah. Be the best you.
Yes, we don't need a carbon copy. We don't.
That's right.
So, what projects do you have coming up, sir? What do you have coming up? I know you got something. I know.
Well, I actually have I was just invited to be on a panel as one of the thought leaders and business leaders in the United States. And I'll be doing that. And I was just told today that Damon John and a few other people will be on the panel as well. So that's going to be, of course, a huge honor and privilege for me. Because again, I'm just a little country boy from South Carolina, and God has just blessed me to do a lot of amazing things. And also, I'm working on a couple books and stuff right now. I have a book that I released last year that I definitely encourage people buy, and it's called The Doorway to Your Success. So I'm promoting that book right now. Also, my entertainment company, Exodus Entertainment Group, we're now in the distribution space. So we've been offering distribution contracts to film directors and producers and just creators. And we're also offering music distribution to artists. We're starting with a lot of the older artists first, though, because a lot of the younger artists already kind of have their own things going on. But a lot of these older artists want their music to get out there to the world on the global stage. And that's what we're trying to help them do. Other than that, just working on myself, working on me. I just want to be better. I just I had a birthday 2 days ago, and every year I get older. I just want to be better than I was last year. So I just want to serve on another level. It's not about money. I'm already blessed. I just want to serve on another level. I want to be a blessing to more people. So that's pretty much what I got going on right now. Other than, like I said, just writing those books, getting those books together so that we can offer more to the world. That's it.
Yeah. Now you had a book that you wanted to show on your desk.
Yeah. So
see, I remember.
Yep. The Doorway to Your Success. This book right here has changed a lot of lives. And that's why I try to get people to get it, not because it's mine, but because it will definitely change your life. And basically this book gives you 5 keys to unlocking your door. Okay. A lot of people think that there's one key that solves all things and opens all doors. But that's not true. There are many keys to success. There's that I always quote Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, and all those guys, and they say success leaves clues. But a lot of times what happens is we don't study the clues, we don't research the clues, we don't look for them. So we are so busy trying to reinvent the wheel, trying to create a new way when you don't need to create a new way. The answers that you seek are already out there. And the funny thing is, they're already inside of you. So we seek answers outside of ourselves. But I always tell people this: nothing is without you, but everything is within you.
That's good.
So if we can remember that, then we're on to something.
That's good. So let's tell the people how they can connect with you if they wanted to, website, social media.
Awesome. So I can be reached at, of course, you can find me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on, oh my God, what else? Just about every platform that's out there. But I don't have no Snapchat, and I don't have no fans on it. So don't be looking for me on that. All right. Don't look for me there. All right. But you can also hit me up on my email, demoinekinney@gmail.com, and also my website, www.demoinekinney.com. That is DEMOINEKINNEY.com.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Demoine Kinney, for joining me on this evening for Conversations with Greatness. I want to thank everybody that watched tonight. I hope you enjoy. Until next time, see you later. Bye.